Hello and welcome to ThisConnect. Today we are talking about FOMOing.
Yeah, the fear of missing out. When did you first hear of the term fear of missing out?
There were like meetups with friends, and whoever was not there would be like, "Guys, what's going on? What's going on?" Like wanting updates all the time, and that was explained to me as that's FOMO, fear of missing out, because you're not there, so you're missing out on all the fun that way. So that was my first introduction to FOMO. You?
I think when I heard YOLO and FOMO and all of this, I basically dismissed it as this some millennial thing. The reason why today we're bringing it up primarily is because increasingly in our comments, increasingly in the DMs we get, we are beginning to see that it is stopping people from moving on with their lives by making a decision about, okay, let's get this or let's not get this. And it is happening to cars, it is happening to scooters. I mean, think about it. Scooter specifically, I'm making that face because it's not even like the Indian scooter market has differentiated itself to a point where there is a variety of vastly different scooters available, right? Effectively, it's like a bakery which succeeded at making pineapple pastry, and now everybody has a version of pineapple pastry, none of which is bad pineapple pastry, and you just can't decide which shop to buy from.
Listen, but didn't you feel FOMO at any point? I mean, the terminology didn't exist, but didn't you feel FOMO?
I think the last time I was deeply in the throes of FOMO was what led to my career in motorcycling, which was somebody in class 11 in my school got a motorcycle, a Hero Honda Sleek. I'm sure you've heard this story before because this is one of my favorite stories. But he was riding a motorcycle and we were in class 11. And I think it gave me such FOMO that today he's moved on and a businessman or whatever. I'm still riding motorcycles for a living. So I think it turned out to be a good thing for me. But that's because I didn't persist in the missing out. I said, this is worth chasing. I put in the effort. It is something that interests me and it is something that makes me come alive and tick or whatever. And then I did those things.
Okay. As a closer example to what we talk about on MotorInc, when you were switching from the 1200 to the V4, I remember us talking back then that yes, the V4 is something that you're interested in. But there was constantly at the back of the back. I mean, somewhere in the background, it kept coming up. The bike speak, the bike speak, the bike speak. Was that a FOMO thing for you?
No.
No.
So the thing I've realized over time is that
it wasn't a FOMO thing for you. But how were you processing that between buying the new V4 Multi or waiting for the bike speak?
my lack of patience helps a lot. I don't have the patience. So I don't have the patience to feel FOMO for an extended duration. You know what I mean? It's like, can I afford it? I can't afford it. End of FOMO. Right?
Yeah.
Plus, I'm an optimist, which means, okay, but I desperately want the Pikes Peak. Okay, so one day I'll be able to afford it and one day I'll be able to buy it. It's not a crisis. Today, I cannot persist feeling like this. It's just not how I work.
Okay.
Right? So there was a time when I would, for example, want to finish any book that I started reading. What if it got interesting later? Which in theory is some sort of FOMO. But it took me a few years and literally 150 books of this. Oh God, this is a terrible book, but I want to finish reading it because I promised myself I would,
that
right?
way. Okay.
Then I said, no, this is a waste of time.
Correct. Yeah.
This is a waste of time. Get a better book. Right? So I don't think I am in a situation, and I don't think we are young enough to feel FOMO as desperately as what I'm reading in the research the youngsters go through. And I think the reason for that primarily is, and this is true for most of you out there, unfortunately, is people who were using social media at a younger and younger and younger age are more susceptible to the negative and corrosive effects of FOMO than people who knew what the world was like before social media happened. And I read a few psychology papers, and they all say the same thing. That social media is a huge contributor to FOMO. And FOMO is almost on the verge of being declared a medical condition which needs intervention because it's a vicious cycle. You feel FOMO and then you go back to social media, which enhances their feeling of FOMO. And the only way you think that you're going to relieve it is to go back to social media, and it just gets worse from there. Right? So in the United States, I think a few states are in the process of trying to argue, saying that there needs to be medical grade warnings with social media that need to come. I think yesterday Instagram took how flexible teen accounts are back a little bit, and more restrictions have come into place because it is building up to a place where it will be a serious problem. And they're already discussing what they call cognitive theory-based treatments for fear of missing out. And honestly, a lot of the treatments are get off your phone and go outside.
So there's this, in the same vein, there's a study which very clearly links smartphones. So basically,
Yes.
phones with screens.
Yes.
And mental health issues
Yeah.
amongst youngsters.
Yeah.
And the study goes back to times when people had mobile phones. So like they call it flip phones. I heard about this on the Huberman Lab podcast. They discussed the same thing. There was an expert who was discussing these things. And she said that the correlation was very clear, that as long as there was cellular connectivity in your hand, things were fine.
Yeah.
But the time from when it became a device with internet connectivity and a screen attached to it, from there, the issues amongst the youth just skyrocketed.
Yes.
There is no hesitation there's no doubt in that. And this has been seen across geographies. So in
Yeah.
different countries, different income strata, all of that. Everywhere it's the same thing.
It is the same thing.
Yeah. So the impact of seeing somebody else live a life which seems to be very pretty and better than yours certainly creates dissatisfaction with for you with your life.
Correct. Which to me also is it's another of my favorite things that I worry about is you guys, when you have children and you're bringing them up, are you giving them enough self-esteem? Right? Like I think my parents did an amazing job of giving me self-esteem because I am like me, right? And as misplaced as it might be, it doesn't let you get fazed by problems. It allows you to say, I am competent, so I will find a solution to this and I will move forward. And you don't really get stumped. Okay? It allows you to say, I know somebody who knows this particular thing really well, and I'll call them and get a solution. But I am so confident that there will be a solution. There is no chance that there is no solution. You know what I mean by that? So it happens. But the funny part is when I started reading about it, I discovered that FOMO has evolved into sub cultures. So you don't just have FOMO anymore. You have types of FOMO. Would you like to know about this? I thought it was hilarious. What the crap? When you hear it, you'll realize it's real. And I just kept the phone just for this. Okay. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 types of identified types of FOMO already.
Oh my God.
So there is FOBO.
Okay.
That is the fear of better options.
Okay.
This is referring to the fear that there could be potentially better alternatives and you're missing out on those. This is what we see a lot in our comments. Right? Then there is MOMO, which is
momos.
The MOMO part is hilarious, and as soon as you hear it, you know that this is happening to people. Okay, it's called the mystery of missing out.
Okay.
You're fearing that you're missing out, but you have no clue what you're missing out on. You just have a deep-seated feeling saying, I'm missing out. Which is terrifying and hilarious both, okay, from two perspectives. Then there is ROMO. ROMO is actually, it's a positive. It's not a negative. ROMO is the reality of missing out.
Okay.
Which is the realization that you aren't actually missing out.
Okay.
Right? Which is good. Then there is 4G. F-O-J-I. 4G. 4G is the fear of joining in. Which is the fear that I'll post something to social media, for example, and there'll be no response.
Oh, okay.
See, it's real. And as I say this, you realize as jocular as this sounds, it's not funny. It's real.
It's real.
Yeah. And then there is the joy of missing out, which is where I'm usually at, which is the opposite of FOMO. And it refers to a positive feeling about saying, yes, they're doing something that I am not doing. And that's okay.
Yeah.
So there's these many things going on. So it used to be a thing. And now it's a whole bunch of things.
It's a whole khichdi of things, man.
Yeah.
My God. So it's
and we see many parts of this, mostly the negatives of this. Very, very few people. I think the older the rider is generally, they are the clearest about, I know what I want. Guide me. These are the two kinds of products that I'm interested in. Help me find something. The younger the person is, or the fresher they are in the decision-making process, the more they seem to be the FOBO and the 4G and all of this drama is going on.
Yeah.
What's your solution? Yeah. So when I ask you, for example, saying, Kartik, I need help. I have so-and-so budget and I'm considering these cars. And I'm not making any sense, okay? So there is a van in there, there is an SUV in there, there's a hatchback in there, there's a sports car in there, all sorts of khichdi is being pucked out in here. I don't even have a clear idea of budget because I am rich enough. So there's a 20 lakh rupee car also in there. There's a used 8 lakh rupee supercar also in there. And then there is a very expensive 65 lakh rupee luxury car also in there. I am fully confused. And I am unable to decide because I just can't decide which one to get because I keep feeling like I'll miss out on the other experience. What would you tell me?
Don't buy anything.
Okay, that helps.
Don't buy anything. Yesterday when we were discussing what to talk about on ThisConnect, Shumi just said, let's do FOMO. And our first reaction was like, what's there to talk in that? And then I was thinking about
I had a fear that there might be a better topic that we didn't cover.
And then I thought that, have I gone through FOMO with my vehicles? When, at each purchase time, I realized that I delayed my purchases a lot, like I told you. But that was not from a FOMO standpoint. That was just from, it's okay, I'll buy it later.
I'm not clear, so I should wait.
No, it wasn't even clear.
It's just your abstinence thing.
Yeah, it's a very weird thing. So what was the last one that you said? Not 4G. Not 4G. What was it? I think that rung a bell.
Joy of missing out. JOMO.
So joy of missing out. So for me, like right now also, like we've been talking about going for track days, and she'll be like, "Come on, man, let's go." I'm like, "No, I don't have a suit right now. I'll come when I get my suit." And it's like, you're missing out. But I'm like, I know now that when I go to the track day and when I go with that suit, and then that joy will be unbelievable. I'll be really happy when that happens, right? So there is one side of that because I have stayed away, and then when I get to exercise that, the joy will be multiplied far, far more. But I don't think that was the decision to not buy was not a FOMO thing or a Marwadi thing. For me, it was an abstain thing. The thing that I feel about FOMO, and the reason why I said don't buy anything is because I think when people are saying they have FOMO, it's because they're not clear about what they want, or they do not find something that's appealing enough for them to take a decision. It's as simple as that. If you found something that really clicked with you, do you think you'd be sitting on the fence and thinking about, hey, what's going to come along that's better, or what's next that'll be the greatest? No chance in hell.
I'm not sure that I agree.
No?
Because there's two sides to that, right? One is the externalized part of that process, which is the manufacturer's vehicles are not well defined enough for me to have a clear, oh yeah, I definitely want that or not. But the other side of it is your internal thought process, right? You are not clear.
So that goes back to also what you said. There was the word that you used was confident.
Yeah.
So are you confident about what you want?
Which has two sides to it, right? Which is the set of options that you're seeing and whatever decision-making data that you're using to try and come to a decision. And the other side of it is, do you know what your parameters are?
No, correct. So that is, of course, a crucial part of that. That is what I'm saying. I remembered when you said confident, because that is a key component of this.
Yeah.
We can just go around looking at a laundry list of everything that's available. But unless and until you know what matters to you.
Correct.
What really speaks to you, if you're not clear about that, if you're unsure about that, no matter, you may have the best car.
Correct.
You may buy the best option. But if it isn't what you want, it's not going to work for you.
It's not going to work. Yeah, exactly.
And then you'll continue thinking that, oh, I should have bought that other one because that would have been better.
Yeah.
So that confidence. And see, again, like Shumi said, that older riders, drivers have less FOMO. It's because they've spent more time making these decisions.
Yes. Key thing there. They have done this process before, and I actually want to call another idea of same abbreviation meaning something else. I want to explore the idea of JOMO again. Okay, not the joy of missing out, the joy of mistaking out. It's okay to make a mistake. When I was 24, many of you are 24, 25, 30. You're early in your career, you have some amount of money, and you have this really huge concern that I have finally saved 2, 3, 4 lakh rupees for a bike or whatever, 10, 12, 15 lakh rupees for a car. And I don't want to make a mistake. Because if I make a mistake, then it'll take me a long time to recover from this mistake and get to a vehicle that I really do want. First, you're not going to lose all the money if you made a mistake, which was so critical that you have to sell the bike off completely. Okay, to give you again my example of the street triple again, which you're familiar with now, so we'll go there again. I spent 9.5 lakh rupees, which I did not have. I had the down payment, I had the ability to pay the EMI. And some 18 months later, I realized this was just completely the wrong kind of bike for me, not the Triumph's fault. My temperament and the Triumph's temperament just did not have a crossover point. And I ran out of interest in that bike. Great. But I didn't have the money to start with. I was still halfway through a loan, and only halfway because I have an internal rule that says no more than 3 years for a bike is the loan. If you can't afford a 3-year loan, if it has to extend to 5 years, you're not ready to buy this bike yet. That's my internal rule, right? I moved on. As soon as I realized, I moved on. Did that mean there was 6, 8, 10 months in there when I knew I wouldn't have the big bike experience that I had just till day before yesterday, but with a suboptimal motorcycle for my temperament? Yes. But that is the penance that I did for the mistake that I made. It reinforced the idea that mentally feeling like this is my kind of bike in nature, in manner, in behavior is far more critical than specs, than premiumness, than cool quotient, than the brand on the tank. These are subservient to the idea that it must do stuff for me. And the 6 months that I waited and desperately waited, saying, okay, I have to get a big bike again. I know I loved that part of the experience. What would I get? It gave me time to rethink the parameters on which I make those decisions.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the process of having made a mistake and learned from it. Did it set me back financially? Of course it did.
So I'll just say this. You can think of FOMO as paralysis by analysis.
Yeah.
But you can't really make really worthy analysis unless you go and experience. Just sitting by the side and waiting for the perfect option to turn up, it's never going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
And you'll never really get to that confidence stage.
And worse, when you DM us, I always ask. I like a template process. Now I'm telling you, I'm using a template when I respond to you. Okay, the first question I ask is, it's literally I type TRD into my phone, and the phone types it out as test rides done ? 90% of the people have not done a test ride yet. So the question could be as ridiculous as Splendor versus Maverick. It could be as logical as Maverick versus Harley Davidson. They have not done a test ride yet.
Absolutely.
This will happen to things like KTM 390 Adventure, KTM 250 Adventure, KTM 250 Duke, and KTM 390 Duke. That's one trip to one showroom to get all 4 test rides done. You've not done it. Okay? Now, I will say, okay, go get the test rides and ping me. Many of them will start giving me a daily update. Today I called the showroom. Tomorrow I'm getting my test ride. I have done my second bike now. Look, I don't need to know because it's not helping me until your idea is formed. Right? When they finish, then I'll get road tests. I love them because it's not really useful information for me to help you decide, but it tells me what you're thinking.
Correct.
Right? So you'll say, for example, that I really enjoyed the sportiness of the 390 Adventure, but the aggression was too much, which to me says maybe the 250 Duke will fit this process better. Or you'll say something weird like, the more I rode the Maverick slowly, the more I really enjoyed myself. Which basically means take the 390s and all of this stuff off your list, start moving towards the classic 350s, Speed 400, Maverick zone, the softer bikes. Right? So I'm beginning to understand what appeals to you. Then the confusion will come. So I did like how sporty the 390 feels, but I really enjoyed how calm the Maverick felt. But then I rode the Scrambler, because it was there, and then it's a little tall. I didn't like that, but I loved how it felt. Which leads me to my always the second question that I ask, and that is also a template, which is, which one did you enjoy the most? Now, if I find a great dissonance, I don't like aggression, but the 390 I enjoyed the most, then I have to ask more questions.
Correct.
Okay. But if you were saying I like calm bikes and I loved Maverick / Speed 400 / Classic 350 / whatever, I know what you want. In your head, in your heart, you've already decided the Classic or the Maverick or whatever is the right bike for me. You just need an external validator. Right? First thing that the psychologists will tell you is when you can't make a decision, you have to eliminate options until you're down to 3. Human beings are very good at making decisions when they have just 3 options in front of them. If there's more than 3, you're going to get messed up. So first, most powerful thing you can do to get out of FOMO is to eliminate your options. FOMO as a lifestyle, it's very, very clear. They're saying get off social media and do other stuff. We've been telling you from the beginning, I don't want you to watch MotorInc all day. I don't want you to binge watch the podcast. I want you to be outside and riding your bike. I want you to be outside driving your car and experiencing the real world and all the glory that it has. That gives you a far bigger database to make decisions with than watching our videos. What? You're smiling.
Go ahead.
The second part that we've also said before, and I want to reiterate this, is please don't watch all the content that the algorithm shows you, because that's what it wants you to do. It wants you to sit there and just sit. I want you to ask, what is the validity of this content? What does this content creator know? Okay. I was researching iOS 18. I use my phone tons for work. I was researching iOS 18 and literally there's like 30,000 people who on the night that iOS 18 has released have put out videos. Imagine if I were to try and watch all of those videos to get the full picture of this. I'd just get nowhere. Right? You have a thought?
No, because you came to the iOS topic. And that was the one thing that just blew me away the other day, just before iPhone season. So which ones come out now? 16?
16.
Yeah. So there was a article in my news feed saying that Leakster drops information about the new features to come in the iPhone. And I was like, okay, cool, let's see what this is. And I opened the article. And this is before this new iPhone has launched, right? So I said, open the article and I started reading through. I don't even remember what the point was, because as I started scrolling, I said, something's wrong. So I scrolled back up and I saw that it says iPhone 17. I was like, wait, one sec. Which iPhone's coming now?
Yeah.
And then I looked that up and I realized it's the iPhone 16 that's coming. And they're already talking about iPhone 17. And what features are going to come in iPhone 17. That means if you follow that train of more and more and, whatever else they're going to throw at you, there's no way you're going to be satisfied.
This is exactly the game that the spy shot stories play. This is exactly the game that the camouflage first drive stories are about. This is exactly the game that is being played saying these features will come in 2025 and 6 and 7. This is exactly where it's at. What you're forgetting is you won't get your time back. You can earn your money back. It's hard, it's difficult, but it can be done. You cannot get your time back. And given the choice of riding a terrible motorcycle for the next 2 years while I save for the really good one, or not riding a motorcycle and moving that purchase up by 3 months, I'd ride the terrible bike. I'll learn something about motorcycling even from that. And honestly today, you can't really buy a terrible vehicle.
Yeah.
The terrible vehicles are literally wearing neon signs on top of their head saying, I am terrible. Everything else is at least reasonably good.
But because of all the voices, you might still not believe it.
Yeah.
That's the FOMO part of it.
And
it's just the abundance of information.
And belief is a very, very powerful part of the FOMO thing. Who do you believe is critical? I want to take a moment to invite you to check out our app. MotorInc is a free download on the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. It contains all of our videos, FAQs, and podcasts. And in fact, right now, ThisConnect Season 3 is playing exclusively on the app and is completely free to watch. Okay, I'm telling you this. If tomorrow I were to tell you something about nuclear fusion, nuclear fission, thermal plants and engineering of thermal plants, you shouldn't believe me. I know nothing about these things. I can be very convincing. That is my ability to communicate. It is not based on anything but grammar, literally. Okay.
I don't believe you.
Exactly. That's what you should be doing. That's exactly the reaction I want to see.
I think you can make a nuclear power plant.
I can make an unclear power plant. See, I'm good with grammar and words and letters and alphabets. I'm no good with nuclear power plants.
We'll put Shumi in the fission chamber.
Unclear fusion, unclear fission.
Powered forever.
Clean, unclear energy. So my point is, I think Kartik and I understand cars and bikes well. And I think what we're trying to tell you is as honestly and as clearly as we can. And if there is a better way that you can think of, please do leave us a comment. It always helps us. But when MotorInc starts to tell you about something arcane and specific and highly technical, then you should have your flags up saying, why are these guys talking like this? Because you should be questioning my ability to have authority on that subject. And my best hope is that I have read enough, spoken to enough people to be able to deal with a difficult subject like that, which I am so unfamiliar with. But if all the content creators are throwing this fire hose of information at you, and you are not willing to filter whose voice you're willing to listen to, you have no choice but to feel fear of missing out, because you have no basis to figure out what is accurate information that is useful to you and what is just noise.
Yeah. So I think in this regard, I can think about this as investment advice versus buying a TV. I always cite this example. If I were to walk into a Chroma, there's no way in hell that I can tell which TV is better than the other.
Correct.
They all look the screen. They're all large pieces of black glass.
Yeah.
They're all playing there, which I realized later is some kind of promo video which has been tailored to show the TV off in its
the best light.
Yeah. There's no way I can make that out.
No.
I need somebody to guide me. Provided I have somebody to do that for me, great. Provided, in the absence of that person or that advice, you'll go with what you think is the best, and you'll go with, like, let's say, I'll be brand centric,
Yeah.
saying that I trust this brand.
It's one way to filter, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I will trust this brand.
Yeah.
And then I will say, okay, my budget is this, so therefore this size. My needs are this, so therefore these features are a must. I'm not going to probably look for 3D televisions or whatever, because I'm not interested in that. I want a basic functional screen. So that's how I'll filter it out. I will do that on my own. Now, depending on how crucial the decision is. Now, if I take the same thing and apply it to investments and financial instruments, are hugely complicated. I do not have the understanding of that.
Yeah.
In that, I will not even bother to filter through at a basic level. I will go to an expert, ask the expert to help me out, who will then break it down to what suits me and my needs and what my situation is in life. And on the basis of that, provide me options and choose from that.
Correct. Now, there's a very, very key idea that he's touched upon. How do you find this expert? And what are the attributes that lead you to this expert? And I would assume that the first thing that it implies is trust.
Absolutely.
If you can't trust this advisor, then you can't go with him or her. It's that clear. So the question always first is, when you're asking for advice, when you're looking at information that you think is guidance to you, which is guidance to me is a passive process. It's being shown to you on a screen, and seeking guidance is an active process where there's a back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Who are you asking? And I have a feeling a lot of people spew the question at many people, hoping somebody will answer. Okay, I understand the strategy is I will throw this at the dartboard and see what sticks in terms of who will be willing to respond.
In this, I'll just say the internet changed how we communicated.
Yeah.
I used to always say, when we started off in television, it was very easy to be an authority because the conversation just went one way.
It was a broadcast.
So you always spoke down. I'm not saying that you were looking down, but you talked to somebody who was beneath you because they could never access you.
No.
They had no access to you. You could say what you wanted and you literally turned a deaf ear to them. Today, with the internet, now you're constantly talking back to people. I mean, you can talk to people, you can access whoever you want, and in that, you're willing to talk to anybody. Would you do that in real life?
Yeah.
Would you take advice from the next guy on the road next to you?
Yeah, there's a very powerful example of this which I read about a year and a half ago, which was talking about how human brains and our social construct as a biological organism is designed to deal with a specific known number of people. Okay, so in the sense of we're not evolved biologically from there, right? So you have 5, 8, 10 people who will consider really close, and because of how we grow up, a lot of them will be blood relations. Then the circle extends. The widest circle is about 100, 150 people, if I remember my numbers correctly.
I think it's about 200, if I'm not wrong.
Okay, it's about 200, right? But you have 10,000 followers on social. And okay, you're justifiably proud of it and whatever. Put them in a room and try to have a conversation. It's just finished. It's over. You have only one option left in that room, which is I do a broadcast. Everybody listens to my broadcast. And then 10 of them have questions back. And if 15 of them have questions back, you're in trouble because you may not have the time or the bandwidth or latitude to be able to answer all 15. It looks like a social conversation. It's effectively going back to television with a little bit more latitude. And what I was going to tell you is what he was talking about at television. Why does he bring a budget into it? Because it eliminates a bunch of options. Why does he say, okay, I prefer OLEDs to IPS panels? Because it eliminates a whole bunch of options. What he's trying to get to is the last standing 3. And at those 3, if he's done a filtration, knowing him, he'll probably say, okay, Vanita, Sirhan, wife, son, these are the 3 TVs which I think are the best in our budget, blah, blah, blah. Pick the one that you'd like. And at that point, he's pretty confident that whichever of the 3 they pick, they're going to get a decent television out of it.
Yeah. And with cars and bikes, I honestly think this is, and I'm going to go back to that. I think you are FOMOing when you're not clear about what you want. It starts, like you said, internally, that you don't know what you want. The day you know what you want and you ride or drive the thing that makes it happen, there's no FOMO. There's never going to be any confusion. Like the Busa for me, I bought the Busa right before it was getting discontinued. Everybody was like, why not wait for the 3rd gen? Why not wait for the 3rd gen? And I had no hesitation in that at all because I knew what I wanted was here. I did not care. The only thing that I thought about back then was, would the new gen be lighter? I said, how could that be possible without going down in displacement where everything about the bike changes.
Correct.
So that it then becomes a different character of motorcycle. Do I want a different character of motorcycle? No, I don't. I love this character.
Yeah.
It didn't matter to me that the next one, and actually I bought it because of its simplicity. I was clear that I didn't want the electronics and all of that. So for me, it was absolutely clear that this is what I want, and I'm not going to miss out on the next gen. And when the next gen came, agreed, I enjoyed riding it. It felt more connected and all of that. But did I feel like I had made a mistake, that I had missed out? Not at all.
Yeah. And
not at all.
In the evolution of how we live, everything is hopefully going to get better at some rate or the other. Right? If you look at the Moore's law end of the scale, then things get better every 16 seconds. And if you look at how physical things work in this world, things get better very slowly. A lot of people still complain about bad roads, and it's not an unjustified complaint. But where were the roads like this 20 years ago? They didn't exist. We are in a far better state. But we are aware that there is an even better state than this which we are moving towards. And there'll be a critical threshold in the middle where suddenly making every car so beefy in terms of suspension will just not be needed because the fundamental roads have gotten better. In one of the previous MotorInc First or podcast, we already talked about how manufacturers are slowly taking spare wheels away, which is a sign of confidence that the roads are getting better and you're having fewer issues with your tires. The spare wheels no longer needed. We are going to get better.
Yeah.
If you get paralyzed by the cycle of if I wait, I'll get something better tomorrow, you remember you're just getting older and older and older and not jumping in.
I've got a counter to this, okay? Yes, things get better. But somehow they always stay the same also. I keep feeling that all the time. So like, I always think about, like when we grew up, we were in Khopoli. And from Khopoli to Mumbai, I used to take whatever, 2 something hours or something like that. And every drive was an adventure because of punctures, this, that, whatever. Similarly, the drive up to Lonavala used to be an adventure because you never knew what used to happen in the ghats.
Sure.
So your overall journey from Mumbai to Pune back then was also about 3.5, 4 hours.
And some uncertainty was always there in the background. Yeah.
And you always thought, man, if you had one cool car and you'd travel so fast and you'd be able to do that distance in 1.5 hours or something ridiculous like that. And today with the expressway and everything in place, has it become easier? Yes, it's become easier. But has my travel time gone down to 1.5 hours or 2 hours?
Yeah.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah.
Because I may travel that interim distance quicker and more easily, but getting in and out of the cities at both ends is now the new challenge. So while the machine that I drive today is much better, my traveling comfort is better, but some of the gains that you're expecting, which will transform your life massively, they don't always come. Like with everything that we've done with technology, making our lives easier, better, processes becoming quicker. You don't have to go to a bank anymore. You don't have to go to the government office at the drop of a hat. You're not standing in queues all the time. But we are busier than we ever were before.
Yeah, and which is why I said, there will always be a crisis. And the reason for the crisis is how we are. We are not satisfied with who we are. And it's not you and me and him. It's a civilization thing. We are just not going to ever be happy. The point is that we will always create a crisis for ourselves. And it is from our...
Oh, that's a very good point. That's a brilliant point.
Yeah, it is a drive to do something more comfortable, more easy, better, luxurious, blah, blah, blah. We always have a goal we are moving towards. So we will always create a crisis for that. Right? Think about it like this. I have 3 motorcycles. I am so fortunate. I've worked for it. It's not just pure luck, but okay, I'm very fortunate. I have 3 motorcycles. I have one thing that I use exclusively for the track. I haven't had the money to tune it for the racetrack, but that would be the next thing I would spend money on. Not a new motorcycle, getting that motorcycle to work at the racetrack. I have 2 very, very different options to commute with and tour with also. So in theory, I should be okay. I'm in a great place. No, my garage number is +1.
Right.
In the back of my head is this thing saying, I need to get another bike. Do I have the money for it? No. Do I have a logical place in my garage for it? No. Do I have an active need that says, yes, that is what that bike will do? If I were younger, a dirt bike would immediately be a natural thing to do. I am not young enough to do that on a regular basis without risking the fact that I can have such severe injuries that I'll never ride a motorcycle again. I don't know how I want to play this, and I'm severely conflicted on this.
Okay.
Right? But in my heart, I still want one more motorcycle. And that's my current crisis. Is it a life-threatening crisis or something that keeps me awake at night? No. But in the back of my head, there's no bike loan right now. It's always there. Right? I've been eating really healthy over the last 2 years or whatever, right? So that need for pizza is there. There'll always be a crisis. And the severity of the crisis is completely up to you.
So taking the similar idea for in cars nowadays, there are so many things that are being manufactured as FOMO seeds, which kill your dissatisfaction. Like this whole business about ADAS. Now people are like, I want ADAS. Why do you want ADAS? And then there's
They have no one to talk to, Kartik, so they want the car to talk to them.
ADAS though is, oh, okay. No, that's the car computers. That's a different thing. But ADAS is interruptions. Anyways, my point being, there are so many things that are being pushed your way as ideas of ideas that will give you a higher level of satisfaction. But those are ideas. They are not actually going to give you more satisfaction, as likely as not.
Yeah.
And ADAS is a great example where for somebody today, a car may not meet a hygiene level because if it doesn't have ADAS. And that's going to keep you constantly eliminating options which might be good for you. And this is there for a whole bunch of things that you can keep looking at and saying, yeah, it doesn't have this, it doesn't have that. If it had this, maybe the update will get it, or maybe that new model that will come, that will have it. These are just ways for you to delay your decision or to remain dissatisfied. And this dissatisfaction is something that you can quickly get over as soon as you say, no, I'm going to put my money down. I have to buy it within this timeline. Khatam.
How decisive you want to be is completely up to you. If you're afraid of making a mistake, I'm telling you, don't be. There's no reason to be afraid of making a mistake. There's almost no way left for you to make an irrecoverable mistake anymore. I don't think it's actually possible.
I think there's a very important point that you brought up. I think time is the ultimate factor. So spending time just dilly-dallying is time that you'll never ever get back.
Yeah.
So I think in this entire job of filtration, of narrowing things down, having a time limit is important. At times you are like, I have a car. I was just talking to somebody. He happens to be the person who helps with my investments, and he always calls me about the car he wants to buy. It's like literally the same transaction that both of us are doing. I'm like, you're the expert. You tell me what I need to do. And he's like, you're the expert. You tell me what I need to do.
Correct.
And he always buys a car, and he'll call me. He'll say, I'm looking to buy a car. This is my budget. This is my need. What do you recommend? And he will blindly go and buy that. Now he's bought, the last time we had this call was 5 years ago. So he was saying, he called to say, he also said that now 5 years are up, so it's time.
Correct.
So I told him, car's running fine. He said, yeah. So I said, why do you want to do it? He said, nahi, 5 saal ho gaye. So I said, car's running good, you stick with it. You don't need to make another decision right now. In his case, he's got a good vehicle that's working well. It suits his needs. And we know what we're going through right now in terms of churn, in terms of technology.
Correct.
All of that is happening. So decisions aren't all that clear. So why do you want to muddle things up?
Yeah.
You have something that works for you. Stick it out.
Correct.
You take another 2 years, use that vehicle. And after 2 years, you make a clearer decision.
Yeah.
And in that, by extending his time frame from now to then, he's got clarity, right?
Correct.
He's changed the time frame. In this case, he's extended it, not shortened it. But in that, he's also got clarity.
Yeah.
So time frames should be used to bring that clarity in.
Yeah.
In some cases, you'll say that, "Arey, agle saal wo launch hoega." Like, great example right now. If you had asked us this question last year, Himalayan or next gen 390 Adventure, I would have probably told you just buy the Himalayan right now. You've got a year of riding in between. You can take that decision when that comes. And we'll take the decision once the vehicle comes and we have a better basis to take this call on.
Yeah.
But if you're here now and we're talking about it right now in September, say maybe you wait 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the next 3 months,
Correct.
you can take a much better decision than taking this decision right now.
Yeah, exactly.
So the time frame should also be used to get that clarity that you want.
Yeah, and I'm shocked, but there'll be people who'll say, I want to buy a bike, these are my options. And suddenly in the conversation, you'll realize like a day and a half of back and forth later, this decision is 18 months from now.
Oh, okay. Maybe they're saving up.
Okay. Why are you deciding now? I don't know what's going to be on the
just set a
market in
budget
18
for
months'
now.
time.
Yeah.
There's an entire model year in the middle.
Can we set a time frame? What should be a good time frame to make a decision?
Depends on how fast you're willing to work. But I will usually decide like in a week's pace. I'll start my research.
Okay, for normal people, what would be a good time frame?
2 months? And 2 months means 2 months. It means do not start your research before you've decided, okay, at the end of this 2 months, I need to make a decision and put money down on something. One, do not book anything that you see knowing that you'll get a refund. That is a terrible way to make a decision because you're basically saying, I have taken a half step into all of these possible opportunities. I think it's a terrible way to help you make a decision.
I would say for car buyers, from the time that you visit the first showroom for a test ride, I'm not including the internet research phase, from the time that you take the first test ride, the first time that you start interacting with a person, with an entity with whom you're looking to make a transaction, to you actually closing the transaction, should not be more than 3 months. Not more than 3 months at the most. 2 months is a good time frame.
Yeah.
I can at the most think even 3 sounds. But okay, chal.
2, I think.
2.
3 is too long. Yeah, it's like an entire quarter gone almost.
Entire quarter.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too
Yeah.
much. It's too. And I'm telling you, I would do my research in those 2 months. Because I am not willing to watch an endless stream of videos on a vehicle. So let's take his example, Himalayan versus 390 Adventure. Let's say I'm a noob. I know nothing about motorcycles. I am trying to decide Himalayan 390. I would not start watching Himalayan 390 videos until I am clear that between these two motorcycles, I have to make a decision in 2 months' time. Before this, watching all kinds of content creators say all kinds of things over and over and over again. No disrespect for the creators, but it doesn't help you decide. It's just creating this churn of information and you're just going to go over and over thinking, okay, what do I do? When I bought my first bike, Kartik, it was a decision between the Shogun, the RX100 and the KB100.
Okay.
Back in the day.
What was the KB100?
KB125, sorry. KB125, RX100, Shogun. This is 1997, 8, 9, roughly that time. The RX100 got eliminated at stage 1 despite everything that it represented because everybody seemed to have one. I said, meko nahi chahiye. In hindsight, perhaps the worst thing that I did in that decision-making process was this, but it got eliminated straight away. I don't care how good it is. I don't want it. Everybody's got one, which means tomorrow, if I feel like it, I can always pick up a used one. No challenge at all. Right? I read 2 stories. One on the KB125, one on the Shogun. And in my head, it was clear I needed the Shogun. But at that point, I already had a pecking order. It was the Shogun, followed by the KB, followed by the RX100 as my worst case. I couldn't afford the Shogun.
Okay.
I didn't spend time regretting not being able to afford the Shogun, nor did I spend 3 months saying, okay, now I'll get a job, my salary will come up and then I'll get it. No, I want a bike right now. I am done with my kinetic Honda. I want to move to a proper motorcycle for which I need it right now.
Okay.
KB125 is the one I could afford. I bought the KB125. Was it the best thing on that market at that point in time? Heck no. But did I absolutely thoroughly enjoy riding it the next whatever year or 2 that I had it? Absolutely. Did I learn tons about riding motorcycles fast and well on the KB100? Absolutely. And that was its job. Its job was to extricate me from the scooter conundrum of the kinetic Honda and take me to a place where I understood how much do I really love motorcycles? Or is this just something I'm building up in my head? Perfect. A year later, I knew I'd be a motorcyclist for life one way or another. And at that point, I was a software guy. I was not even a journalist, right? Back to back, when the money came, RD350s came. So I had suddenly 3 bikes. By then, I knew I was hooked. But it was the KB125 that hooked me. Was it the best decision I could have made that day? No, an RX100 would have been a better bike to buy, I suppose. A Shogun would be a whole different world altogether, right? So in theory, I picked the worst of the 3. I think I did fine.
Yeah, that's a good one, yeah. Because it wasn't your top choice. So you had to just
I had to
adjust.
settle.
Yeah, you had to settle.
I had to settle.
And you made a poor decision right at the start by eliminating the RX100 for its commonness.
Yeah, it's a stupid thing to say, right?
Yeah. And then you got the KB, but it still worked out for you.
And was it reliable? Enough. Was it perfect? Heck no. Did I not know that there was a better vehicle out there? Yes, but I couldn't afford it. End of story. So did I spend that year and a half that I spent on the KB? Did I spend that time regretting my purchase? No, I maxed it out. I got all the joy that I wanted from that motorcycle. I got it out. I went out practicing on Sunday mornings to the annoyance of all the Sunday morning walkers in the areas that I practiced in. I went for late night rides. I rode it to work. I had a great time. Constantly, I thought about how do I ride this better? How do I make this more fun? And I got to the point where my mechanic, Ashwini Rana, he sold me my first RD350. And Ashwini used to have a filtration process. So you had to pass a test, as it were, and you didn't know you were being tested. He would just give you his bike and say, go for a ride. And then he'd take somebody else's RD350 and follow you around and see what you're up to.
Okay.
Because if you were looking like you're in trouble, then he wouldn't sell you the bike.
Right.
Because RD350s are fast, etc., etc. So he saw me ride and he said, yes, I think you'll be okay on RD350. Here's a good one. How did I pass that test? KB 125.
Right.
What I learned over that year, and remember, this is before the internet. It's not like I can look up a video or read an article. There's nothing there. So you're figuring out, oh, this seems to work, this doesn't seem to work, and you're organically learning to ride a motorcycle. But I learned enough from that worst motorcycle I could have bought to be able to get to an RD350 and pass a test. Today, it's much safer. The difference between the best and the worst isn't that much anymore. You should be afraid that I'm not able to decide and time's passing by, rather than the fact that you'll end up with the worst vehicle and miss out on something. There'll always be an update.
And we've spoken about what is our formula of what are the key ingredients we look for in vehicles that we like. We've discussed this before. And that is, and we said that it has to be three things. You identify three things that really matter to you and then go about picking your options. Because if you don't know what those three things are, nothing's going to work. And I'll give you a great example of this. Like in cars, every in this under 10 lakh rupee space, you have this 1.2 liter engine from Hyundai, and it's a 4-cylinder, which is getting rarer and rarer today. And so is the Maruti Suzuki 1.2 liter. Both engines on the face of it are the same. They make about the same power. Both of them are 4 cylinders. Both of them are incredibly smooth. In fact, the Hyundai is ultra smooth. And on paper fuel efficiency, there'll be a slight difference. The Suzuki is better, but the Hyundai is also pretty good. They are neck and neck on paper. But for me, the difference between them is a world of a difference. And there's no way you can ask me to live with the Hyundai 1.2 instead of the K series. It's clear cut. I will not do that. Because for me, that responsiveness, that eagerness of the engine is what I prize more than the additional smoothness and, let's say, a little bit more of the affordability that the Hyundai brings. It doesn't work for me. So that prioritization of what matters to you has to be absolutely clear. Like in your case, you eliminated the RX, saying that it's too common. Good, bad, whatever. It was your value set, right? You eliminated it. Shogun was the one that you wanted, performance-wise. But budget-wise, you came down to the KB125. But finally, it got you a motorcycle and you used it. You were moved physically and emotionally even with that vehicle. So until and unless you make this list, you will get stuck for sure, or you'll be listening to somebody else's advice and buying somebody else's favorite car or bike.
It's every time you write me, my friends are saying that I should not do this or I should do this. Dude, are they going to pay for your bike? If they are not going to pay for your bike, I'm not sure how seriously you should be taking their opinion. Because ultimately you have to ride your bike. And if your friends are going to reject the friendship based on whether you listen to them or not, these are not the right friends. You need better friends than this. It's crazy that all of this is normal. It shouldn't be. You are the one who's going to ride it or drive it. So you should be deciding based on your preferences. Whatever effort you put into clarifying your own preferences, to me, is worth it. Which is why I say get a test ride. And to me, a test ride is a way to eliminate things rather than select things. Especially if you don't know what you're doing. When you get a bad feeling about a bike, great. Listen to your gut. Eliminate that from your list. Good idea. Let's do that.
I think this is a good formula that we've ended up with. Set a timeline. 2-3 months, whatever it is, that tighter the better. If you can do it in 1 week, ace.
And I'm telling you personally, I have no patience. If I have decided I'm going to buy a bike, then I am in a rush. I'm like, it's like a every minute I'm losing a minute kind of rush. So I want it closed.
So set a timeline. I think that's important. List out your top 3 priorities. That's absolutely important. You may have an idea of what it is before you start going and test driving and test riding vehicles. It may change, and that's fine. And that brings us to the next thing, which is to actually go out and experience the vehicles so that you can actually make the decision instead of letting somebody else make it for you. Whether it's through messages or through conversations, finally you have to buy it. So it has to work for you. I think good formula.
And don't be afraid of making a mistake. We've all done it. We've all survived the mistakes.
I don't know
We've
who
all
hasn't
learned.
made mistakes in
Yeah,
lives.
yeah. There is no fear of making. There's no fear of making mistakes. I think that you should just eliminate from your system, because whether you like it or not, you're going to make a mistake.
And honestly, in my life, I have always looked back at things which felt like mistakes. And when I look back at them, I have invariably found them to be the reasons for something good happening later.
Later, yeah.
Somehow it's always been that way.
Yep.
Like you thought of it, oh man, I shouldn't have done that. Why did that happen?
Hmm.
And you look back, then you just feel like, man, that helped me in so many ways that I didn't even realize back then.
Yeah, of course.
It's always been that way. So don't be afraid. In fact, mistakes, somebody, I was just thinking about the other day, we should start thinking of things as mistakes or bads, right?
Yeah.
It's a different opportunity.
Yeah.
Go with it, roll with it. Even if you roll with it for, let's say you get something which absolutely does not work for you. Use it for 6 months. At least crystallize why you don't like it, why it doesn't work for you, and then get rid of it. You'll be richer for it in so many other ways. You'll never make that same mistake again.
Yeah. Somebody with a highness messaged last week. I have a highness. Okay. I hate it. Okay, fair enough. I understand that. It's been 670 kilometers and 2 weeks. Should I just sell it off and get something else?
Too soon.
I'm like, okay, look, I don't even like that bike and I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah, that's too soon.
He says, no, but see, if I sell it right now, I won't lose much money. I said, yeah, but what are your options? What are you going to move to? Because it sounds like you're not clear about what you like, which is not going to be solved by buying more bikes. You're just going to throw more money at the problem. What you need is time. No, I like high revving bikes and I want to redline the bike. Then why did you buy a CB350? That's
This
exactly
format of
the wrong kind of bike.
motorcycle.
I mean, you couldn't do more wrong there, right?
Yeah, I swear. Right from the wide view itself, that kind of motorcycle for that need.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Good lesson. Good lesson.
Yeah. And no, this is what I told them. I said, please do not do this. You've got a bike now.
And okay, sorry, I'm going to jump here. We started off with that whole social media conversation, and I keep telling them in office that I can't wait for the day that I don't have to be a part of social media. And while you have to deal with it and I have to deal with it, the one thing you should remember is FOMO is something that people will want to create in you, because that's what drives their lives, their sense of satisfaction or their businesses or whatever. So as far as possible, don't peek into other people's lives. If you're using social media, be careful with who influences you. It's really important, because envy and negativity is some of the easiest things to create. Sorry.
Yeah. No, spot on. This negativity and envy thing is just terrifying.
Hang on. If you were trying to figure out which car or bike to buy, I have to ask you, have you used this search on the MotorInc app? It is fast and powerful. The MotorInc app is free to download, free to sign up, and the conversations there, as I keep saying, are priceless.
And what Shumi was also saying earlier, your friends may not agree with your choice of motorcycles, and that's okay, but they should be willing to accept you for the decisions that you made and help you along in that. We've had friends, we've gone for rides where the bikes were completely wrong for what we were wanting to do or what we set out to do. We said, yeah, it's okay, man, let's go. We had a couple of laughs. That guy fell when we said, yeah, you're going to fall. But he's like, no, I'm going to do it anyway. Okay, fine, sure.
Yeah.
Let's go. We had fun. It was done. It's okay. And that happens in the real life.
And these friends will also make accommodations. If you're going off-road and you've decided to come on a venture, first your friends will laugh at you. But they will also slow down for you. That's what friends do.
Yeah.
And they'll also help you pick the damn thing up. And they'll put you in the ambulance if that day comes. But that's what it is about. It's not about you're an idiot, you bought an Avenger. It doesn't matter what he's riding. It matters that he's riding and he or she is riding and that they're with you right now.
Absolutely.
That's what friendship is about, right?
I remember this ride so clearly when we just got our impulses and all. We used to go off road every weekend. So one of the weekends, PD Priyadarshan, he at Zik, he said, even I'm going to come. And he has the first gen 390, right?
Yeah.
So he said, I'm going to come. I said, you sure? He said, yeah, I'm going to come. And he said, my tires are getting worn out. Perfect time. I said, what do you mean perfect time?
The worst time. Yeah.
He said, no, yeah, anyways, I have to change them. We'll see. And we went and we were riding around this lake bed and going up and down the hills and all of that. And at one point I said, okay, chal, I'm going to try and do this climb. It was like a fairly steep climb, short, but lose and everything. So all of us, one by one, said, okay, chal jate hain. So a couple of people would stand halfway up the slope saying we'll catch or whatever. And PD, I am telling you, don't do it. He's like, no, man, I'm going to, you know how PD is, right? I'm going to attempt it. And he did.
No lack of courage. Yeah.
No lack, and full commitment.
Yeah.
And for me, the biggest, do I remember who else was on the right with the right bike?
No.
I have absolutely
Of course
no
not.
idea.
Yeah.
But PD on the 390, on the worn out tires, making it almost as far as the impulses is what I remember. The finally is just like, woo, the rear wheel is spinning up, dust is just being thrown up. He's stuck, and we're like, okay, fine, dude, now it's done. Now we get back. Right? But that is what I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he made a decision there to have fun, and he did.
Yeah, he did.
हो गया मेरे तरफ से तो.
No, but we should continue. Otherwise, there'll be some fear of missing out of what happens if we had more half an hour to discuss.
You can really stretch this one out.
As much as you like.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're going to call it done. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. This is episode 22 of a season of 20 episodes.
And actually, if you have any ideas, we've got a few more eps in this season. If you have any ideas or topics that you'd like us to discuss, let us know in the comments. It's a small conversation this time
It's
around.
a much smaller room now.
Yeah.
And conversation is much easier because it's a small room. So yeah, let's do it.
So let's talk. 3, 2, 1. ThisConnect.